The Stoics knew. Why don't you? Here's what nobody tells you about the exhaustion you carry. It's not from working too hard, not from sleeping too little, not even from the chaos outside. It comes from something far more insidious, your mind operating as if under constant siege when there's no actual enemy at the gates. You're tired because you've been at war with phantoms. Modern life has done something peculiar to the human nervous system. We evolved to respond to threats. The rustling in tall grass, the shadow moving at dusk, the stranger approaching with unclear intent. These were real, immediate, solvable through action, run, fight, hide. But here's the dark truth nobody wants to face. Your body still runs that ancient software while your mind feeds it an entirely new category of threat. An unanswered email becomes a predator. A colleague's silence transforms into betrayal. The possibility of missing out mutates into existential danger. And your system, this beautiful ancient machinery, can't tell the difference between a lion and a notification. The Stoics had a word for the ruling faculty of your mind, Hegemonikon, your command center. Marcus Aurelius knew something that most people today have forgotten. The fortress isn't out there, it's in here. And most of us, we're defending the wrong territory entirely. I watched this play out last year with someone close to me. She'd wake at 3 a.m., heart racing, convinced something terrible was about to happen. When I asked what specifically was wrong right now, in that moment, in that room, in that breath, she couldn't name it. Nothing was actually wrong, but her mind had been running threat calculations for so long that the calculations themselves became the threat. She was exhausted, not from surviving danger, from anticipating it. Constantly. This is what the Stoics called suffering before it's necessary. And they warned against it 2,000 years ago, because even then, the human mind had this tendency to manufacture crisis. Seneca wrote to a friend, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." But here's where it gets interesting. He wasn't talking about positive thinking or pretending everything's fine. He was pointing to something far more surgical, something you can use right now. The chronic psychological threat you're experiencing, this perpetual feeling that you're falling behind, not enough, about to be exposed, it exists entirely in the gap between what is and what you think should be. Let that settle for a moment. The threat isn't real. The gap is real. Your mind is defending a version of reality that doesn't exist. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth, enemies at every border, plague sweeping through Rome, senators plotting, his own son unfit to rule, and in his private journals, what we now call meditations. He reminds himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Not, "You have power over the Senate." Not, "You have power over the plague." Your mind, that's it. That's the whole territory. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control things they cannot control while neglecting the one thing they can. Your interpretations, your judgments, your responses. This is Prohairesis, the faculty of choice. The Stoics considered it the only true possession you have. Everything else, borrowed, temporary, subject to fortune. But how you meet what happens, that's yours, completely. I tested this myself about 6 months ago when something I'd worked on for 2 years collapsed overnight. Partnership dissolved, funding disappeared, the project dead. My first response was textbook chronic threat, catastrophizing, rage at betrayal, despair about wasted time. I could feel my system preparing for war, heart rate up, sleep destroyed, appetite gone, classic. But then I remembered something Epictetus taught. Men are disturbed not by things, but by their judgments about things. So I tried an experiment. What if I removed the judgment? What if this event was neutral, just a thing that happened, no more inherently bad than rain or traffic? The moment I did that, and I mean really did it, not just intellectually but viscerally, the threat disappeared. Not the situation, the threat, because threat requires interpretation. Without the story, this is a disaster. There's just an event, one that requires a response, sure, but not one that requires suffering. You're probably thinking, that's insane. Some things are objectively bad. Are they? Or have you been trained to label them that way? When your colleague doesn't respond to your message, is that a threat? Or is the threat your interpretation that silence means disrespect, which means loss of status, which means eventual failure? The Stoics would ask, which part of that chain actually happened? Only the silence. Everything else you added. Voluntarily. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because if chronic threat is self-generated through interpretation, then you've been doing this to yourself, and the mind hates that realization. It's much easier to believe the world is attacking you than to recognize you've been attacking yourself with your own thoughts. But here's the thing. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's when freedom becomes possible. There's a category in Stoic philosophy called Adiaphora, the indifferents. These are things that fall outside the domain of virtue and vice, wealth, reputation, health, even life itself. The Stoics aren't saying these things don't matter at all. They're saying they don't touch your essential nature. You can be virtuous while poor or while rich. You can maintain your integrity whether praised or criticized. Your core, your ability to act according to reason, remains untouchable by external circumstance. Modern culture has completely inverted this. We've been taught that external markers are our worth. Salary defines success. Followers determine value. The house, the title, the recognition, these supposedly tell you who you are. And when they're threatened, or even when you think they might be threatened, your system activates full defense mode. Because if those things are you, then losing them means annihilation. But they're not you. They never were. Marcus Aurelius had more wealth, power, and status than almost anyone in history. He could have identified completely with his position. Instead, he wrote, Alexander the Great and his mule driver both died, and the same thing happened to both. Death, the ultimate indifferent. It comes for the emperor and the beggar alike. Your job title means nothing to it. Your achievements don't impress it. So what's left when you strip away all the externals? That's the question that dissolves chronic threat. Because if you can answer, I remain, if there's something essential that persists regardless of circumstance, then circumstance loses its power to threaten. You might prefer certain outcomes over others. That's natural. That's human. But needing them, believing your worth depends on them, that's the trap. That's where the siege begins. I know someone who spent 15 years climbing in her company, VP by 40, on track for C-suite. Then the company was acquired and her position eliminated. She told me she felt like she had been erased. I don't know who I am if I'm not that. And I watched her, brilliant, capable, resilient, completely undone. Not by job loss itself, but by the belief that the job was her. It took her almost a year to realize that nothing essential had been lost. The skills remained. The character remained. The ability to contribute remained. Only the title was gone, and the title was always just a title, preferred, yes, but indifferent to her actual worth. The Stoics talk about the inner citadel, your Hegemonikon operating as an unbreachable fortress. This isn't about building walls or shutting people out. It's about recognizing that there's a part of you that external events simply cannot touch. Marcus writes, "Nowhere can man find a quieter retreat than in his own soul. Not nowhere but in a monastery, or nowhere but on vacation, your own soul, right now, in the middle of chaos. Because chaos is external, the citadel is internal. Here's what that looks like practically. You're in a meeting. Someone criticizes your work unfairly. Your face gets hot, heart rate spikes, the threat response activates. In that moment, you have a choice. Not about whether to feel the physiological reaction, but about what you do with it. One path: interpret the criticism as attack, feel threatened, defend aggressively, damage the relationship, carry the resentment for days. Another path: recognize the criticism as an external event. Note your reaction without being controlled by it. Respond calmly or not at all, let it pass. Same event, completely different experience. The difference? Where you chose to stand, in the chaos or in the citadel. But here's where most people get stuck. They think maintaining the citadel means suppressing emotion. It doesn't. Suppression is still a form of being controlled, just from the inside instead of the outside. The Stoics aren't advocating for robotic detachment. They're advocating for sovereignty. Feel what you feel, then choose your response. Don't let the feeling choose for you. Epictetus was a slave for much of his life, literally owned by another human being, and yet he wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Not, "No man is free who isn't wealthy or who isn't powerful." Master of himself, that's it. Freedom isn't about external circumstances. It's about internal governance and chronic psychological threat. That's what happens when you've abdicated governance, when you've let external events, or more accurately, your interpretations of external events, run the show. You want to know something strange? Most of the cage is unlocked. The door's been open for years, but we keep pacing inside, convinced we're trapped. Every morning you pick up your phone and voluntarily subject yourself to manufactured urgency. You scroll, you compare, you absorb other people's curated realities and feel insufficient by contrast. You say yes to meetings that drain you. You chase metrics that don't actually reflect your values. You defend yourself to people whose opinions don't genuinely matter to you. And then you wonder why you're exhausted. You're exhausted because you're volunteering for captivity. Seneca talks about this in his essay on the shortness of life. He's vicious about it. He says we complain that life is short while simultaneously throwing away our time on trivialities. We act as if we're going to live forever while living as if we're already dead. We're busy, frantically busy, but busy with what? Things that genuinely align with our nature, or things we've been conditioned to believe we should care about. I spent 3 years in a job that paid well but hollowed me out. Every Sunday evening, this dread would settle in. Not fear of specific tasks, just dread. The weight of knowing I'd spend another week doing work that meant nothing to me. But I stayed. Why? Because the alternatives seemed threatening. Less money meant less security, meant potential failure, meant, see how the cascade works? One interpretation creates the next, until you're trapped in a prison of your own construction. The door was unlocked the whole time. I just couldn't see it because I was too busy being afraid of what was on the other side. When I finally left, when I finally stopped defending a version of life that wasn't actually mine, something strange happened. The threats I'd imagined didn't materialize. Or they did, but they weren't threats. They were just different circumstances. Less income? Yes, but also less chronic stress. Fewer impressive answers at parties? Sure, but also more time for things that actually mattered. The catastrophe I'd been anticipating for 3 years never came. Because it was never real. It was projection, fantasy. A story about the future that my mind was treating as present danger. This is what the Stoics mean by Amor fati, love of fate, not blind acceptance, not passivity, something more radical. What if you stopped needing reality to be different than it is? What if you met what happens with genuine curiosity instead of resistance? What if the job loss isn't a catastrophe, but a redirection? The relationship ending isn't failure, but completion. The plan falling apart isn't disaster, but course correction. Epictetus puts it bluntly. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then your life will flow well. Most people read that and think he's telling them to give up. He's not. He's telling them to stop exhausting themselves fighting reality. Because reality doesn't care about your preferences. It unfolds according to its own logic. And your choice, your only choice, is how you're going to meet it. Marcus Aurelius faced plague, war, betrayal by close friends, a son unfit to rule. His journals could have been endless complaints. Instead, they're reminders to himself to stay aligned with nature, to accept what comes, to respond virtuously. At one point he writes, "Everything is as it should be. Not everything is easy or everything is pleasant. Everything is as it should be because it is, and wishing it otherwise doesn't change it. It just adds suffering to the situation." That's the shift. That's the moment chronic threat dissolves. When you stop demanding that reality conform to your script, reality stops being threatening. It's just what's happening. Sometimes favorable, sometimes challenging, but never personal. Because the universe isn't conspiring against you. It's not conspiring for you either. It's just unfolding. And you get to choose every single moment whether you're going to flow with it or exhaust yourself resisting it. I think about Marcus on the battlefield. Sword raised, enemies charging. And in that moment, actual physical danger, he's calm. Not because there's no threat, because the threat is irrelevant to his essence. They can kill his body. They cannot touch his character. They cannot corrupt his judgment. They cannot force him to act without integrity. So what is there to fear? Death is natural. Pain is temporary. The only thing that can truly harm him is his own choice to act shamefully. And that's entirely under his control. You're not Marcus Aurelius on the battlefield, but you're facing your own version of that moment every single day. Email arrives that triggers panic. Conversation goes wrong and spirals your thoughts for hours. Social media post makes you feel inadequate. Bank account lower than you'd like. Body not cooperating. Deadline approaching. People disappointed. Opportunities missed. And in all of it, the question remains the same. What's actually threatened here? Your life? Rarely. Your safety? Almost never. Your ego? Always. Your image of how things should be? Constantly. That's it. That's the whole game. Chronic psychological threat exists in the gap between reality and your demand that reality be different. Close the gap, not by changing reality, which you mostly can't do, but by releasing the demand. And suddenly, space, breath, freedom, not because circumstances improved, because you stopped being at war with circumstances. The Stoics knew this, Marcus knew this, Epictetus knew this, Seneca knew this, and they weren't writing for philosophers. They were writing for people exactly like you, people overwhelmed, people exhausted, people defending themselves against threats that don't exist, people who'd forgot or never learned that the only territory worth defending is internal. So what now? You've heard all this. You intellectually understand it, but understanding isn't transformation. The mind will resist. It's been running threat calculations for so long that stopping feels dangerous. It'll tell you that letting go means giving up, that acceptance means weakness, that releasing control means losing everything. It's lying, but it's a convincing lie. Here's what you do tonight, before sleep. When the mind is already tired and defenses are lower, ask yourself, what am I defending right now that doesn't actually need defending? Not what you're worried about, what you're defending. Your image, your rightness, your version of how things should have gone, your need for certain outcomes. Name it out loud if you can, because naming breaks the spell. Then ask, what would happen if I release this defense? And be honest, really honest. Probably nothing catastrophic, probably just a different experience, maybe discomfort, maybe uncertainty, but not annihilation, not death, just different. And different isn't dangerous, it's just different. The Stoics taught that you have power over your mind, not outside events. That's not a limitation, that's liberation. Because outside events will always be chaotic. People will always be unpredictable. Circumstances will always be uncertain. But your mind, your interpretation, your response, that's yours, completely, forever. And nobody can take it unless you hand it over. You've been handing it over for years. To notifications, to opinions, to fears about the future, to regrets about the past, to every external circumstance that you've granted the power to determine your internal state. And it's exhausted you, because you've been defending territory that was never under attack while leaving the citadel, the only thing that matters, wide open. Life isn't attacking you. Your mind is defending something that doesn't need defending. The siege is internal. The enemy is interpretation. And the way out isn't through better circumstances. It's through clearer thinking. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth, including, especially, the stories you tell yourself about threat." The Stoics knew. Now you know. The only question is, what will you do with it? Because knowing changes nothing. Practice changes everything. And the practice is simple, not easy, but simple. When the threat alarm sounds, pause. Ask, what is actually being threatened here? Not what might be threatened, not what feels threatened, what actually, objectively, in reality, right now, is under threat. Usually, nothing essential, usually just ego, just preference, just the demand that reality be different than it is. And in that recognition, in that pause between trigger and reaction, freedom lives. Not the freedom to control everything, the freedom to be okay with anything. That's the Stoic promise. Not that life gets easier, that you get unshakable, not by being harder, by being clearer, by defending what matters and releasing what doesn't, by recognizing that the fortress is internal and the only siege that can truly harm you is the one you're conducting against yourself. Sleep well tonight. And tomorrow, when the first threat alarm sounds, and it will, remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Claim it.